This Wright Brand 215 Betting Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is offering plenty of markets this week for the PGA Championship that you can't find anywhere else. Sign up today with promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. We go truck racing this week as the trucks hit North Wilkesboro while the big boys are there for the All-Star race. There's still an actual points-paying race going on for the truck series, and I got to say, I'm so glad. We don't have a whole lot of history on the trucks on this track. In fact, there's only been one time in the current history of this that we've seen these. So Cody, this is again another special treat for us as we, had the first one last year, really good race. And I think we're in for another one too this year.
Yeah. And the track's completely different. So how much of last year even really matters anyways, Rod. So yes, no fancy, funny formats to break down for this one. Just a good old truck race for points, normal weekend for those fellas. So, and ladies of course as well, but I'm excited. Trucks are the best, right? Love the truck series. Love betting on the truck series. Love watching the truck series. Got a pretty loaded field with quite a few people in it. They made us wait a little bit. We're a day later than normal on, well, if there was Xfinity, this would be the normal day for trucks. So I guess we're keeping it the same with that. But of course, had to shift the schedule around because they were holding out on the odds, Rod. We've been hitting them too hard on the truck series, which hopefully we'll continue to do.
JDK agrees with you about that one. About time the books get their stuff in gear for truck odds. Yes, indeed. Yes. Laura checking in saying hello. Hey, Laura. Yes. And then Jessica saying yes, trucks. Yes, truck. James wants back Tyson 250.
That's what the name of the race was last year. Tyson's out. Wright Brand is in.
Wright Brand is in. I love it. That's all right. I don't know. I have to look again what Wright Brand actually is.
See, that's why sponsorship was Rod, because now you're interested in what Wright Brand is. So, them being the sponsor of this thing is going to teach you more about their company. And you may or may not be able to use it because I don't know what it is either. But, hey, we're going to learn something today.
Bacon? Is that what that is?
Oh, gee. Well, I'd like to know about it if that's the case.
I tell you what, if that's it, yeah. How to watch the Wright Brand 250. Wright Brand is a hickory smoked bacon.
I guess I'll be doing some shopping tomorrow and looking. Oh, James not a fan of Wright Brand. He's actually spelling it wrong. Wright Brand is wrong. Wow. Yeah, who knew bacon could be so divisive, Rod? You work for Smithfield, James.
In this world, I'm not really surprised that bacon can be divisive. So definitely, I like it. I already like it. I like it even better now that I know exactly what it is. And look, I know there's a lot of people like, oh, how do you not know what the sponsor of a race is? Look, man, I'm just a simple man. Like,
I read be an East Coast bacon. I'll be honest with you. I've not seen Wright Brand before, but hey, again, to the point of sponsorship works. If they sell it here, Rod, now I know about it, and I'm going to check it out because they're supporters of NASCAR. So that's why they do it.
That's true, because I haven't seen Wright Brand bacon in my store either. But speaking of stores, you know what you're going to get in the SGPN store. You're going to get all the awesome SGPN merch that you could possibly want and need and look good in all summer long. Plus, we're running a mega Memorial Day merch sale. 15% off of everything in the merch store right now with promo code SGPNMAY. That's SGPNMAY. Got to get yourself loaded up with your favorite racing gambling podcast stuff. Remember, can't use NASCAR because obviously that's a brand, trademark brand, but we do have plenty of stuff with our famed helmet and SGPN logo on it. So get yourself a coffee mug like I've got, get yourself a coffee mug like Cody's got, get yourself a couple of shirts and hats and whatever else you want. So make sure you get down on that. 15% off for Memorial Day with the code SGPN May. Yes, indeed, Cody. I know that I love all the SGPN merch. In fact, I just used my SGPN tote bag the other day to travel with, and it came in perfectly handy. It was a nice little one-night bag, and I took it with me, and loaded it up, and it fit everything and then some. So can't complain.
There you go. Get yourself a tote bag. Yes, I have multiple hats, multiple T-shirts, sweatshirts. I got sweatpants. I got a lot of stuff from the merch store.
I know. I was wearing my SGPN sweats today, so I was excited about that as well.
They're super comfy.
They really are too. I hate leaving them during the day, so it's one of those things where I part with them and I cry a little bit when I have to go. All right, truck racing we go. It is, of course, the Wright Brand 250, and we are going truck racing 250 laps around this 0.625 mile repaved track for 156.250 miles. Cody, like we said, there's only been one other race in the current era of the truck races that has taken place on this, and that was, of course, last year. Before that, 1996 and 1995 were the only two races Truck Series ran on this. Mike Bliss won in his Ford, and Mark Martin won the next year in his Ford as well. Last winner of this race won Kyle Larson. Not going to be on the schedule for this race, by the way, just so you guys know.
Yeah, he's a little busy this weekend, right?
Just a touch. The dude is just rolling through Indy cars right now. I can't believe it.
Yeah, he truly is. He's doing a great job.
Oh, James is taking back what he says. In that case, maybe it's not that bad. James,
advertising works now. He's interested in it, and yes, can't agree more with Jessica. Something wrong with you if you don't like bacon. Agreed. And JDK wants to know if does this track not lean into Majeski and Riggs being pretty good here? Well, good news for you, JDK. We have opinions on both of those drivers. So stay tuned and you're going to find out the answer.
I muted myself. I got my board right in front of me and I'm muted myself.
Okay, Rod. We've only 414 episodes. I mean, you're still trying to figure it out. It's cool.
I don't know what I'm doing. I literally just got and sat down, and this is the first time I've ever talked in front of a microphone before. So we are learning by the seat of our pants. All right. Just kind of like these truck drivers are. In fact, there are going to be a lot of these drivers that are not familiar with this track, obviously, because of the fact that they didn't race it last year. Cody, I know there's a couple of Cup guys that are in this, maybe not Kyle Larson, but there's a couple of Cup guys and some names that we're not used to seeing on a daily basis.
Yeah, we got some new names. So there's 38 entries for 36 spots. So we've had a few lately where we've not even got to 36, but 38 drivers going to attempt this one. Obviously, it's close to home, which makes not far for the teams to have to travel and everything to get here. So 38 entries for 36 spots. So 2 drivers won't make the race. Notables, Rod, Brendan Queen, also known as Butterbean Queen, is going to be in the number 1 Tricon truck. Cars Tour guy, late model guy, kind of a legend in that grassroots racing thing. This is the type of track that's going to translate to that. Cars Tour actually, I think, might be racing this evening at North Wilkesboro as well. So he's going to get some laps on there. They're supposed to race yesterday, but had some inclement weather. Sammy Smith returns, Rod. Got some thoughts on Sammy Smith tonight. A little disappointed he's not the massive favorite like he was last time he was in the Truck Series, but he's back in the 7 truck again. Eric Almirola, he's retired from full-time Cup racing. Xfinity's off this week. Let's jump into Rod. Hasn't done it since 2012, but hey, got to have fun in retirement. Eric Almirola is going to be in the 16 truck for Hattori. I feel like Hattori hasn't entered any races this season, so might be the first time that they're entering a race. I could be wrong on that. I have to go back and look, but I can't remember the 16 truck and any other things so far. But Dawson Sutton is going to be in a second Rackley War truck. Apologize to Dawson. I don't really know who he is or what he's about. But that's the second truck for them, so it must be kind of a big thing there. Ross Chastain, last week's winner for the Truck Series. Of course, we hit him a plus 850 to win the race at Darlington. Never in any doubt at all with that one, Rod. He's going to be back behind the wheel of the 45. Connor Jones is back in the 66. And fan favorite Jack Wood back in the 91 truck.
Yeah, again, a lot of names that we're not used to seeing or hearing from on a week-to-week basis, so a lot to get acquainted with. And like Cody said, I mean, we do actually have some thoughts on a lot of these guys, so we will definitely be talking them over as we talk through North Wilkesboro and this Truck Series. So, Cody, I'm ready to get to the bets. I'm kind of antsy today to get to the good stuff because I feel like this weekend with the All-Star race being the way it is, there's a lot of just kind of downtime, especially with no Xfinity. So I'm ready and anxious to get to where we're going. Yeah.
I agreed. Are we doing fantasy picks first? Or are we doing that after the betting card?
We'll do that after the betting card again.
All right. Don't forget to remind me, Rob.
I will not forget to remind you. We have done it last time. I feel like we still need to make up ground on these guys. I know that we're in the lead still.
We do.
But
we've been losing a little ground. We'll get to it here in a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But first, let's talk about another form of racing. Horse racing. That's right. Bet the second jewel of the Triple Crown with NYRA Bets. You can sign up today for a $200 deposit bonus with promo code SGPN200. Join now to claim your $200 deposit bonus just in time for the Preakness at nyrabets.com/SGPN200. Gear up for Black Eyed Susan Day at Pimlico and boost your Preakness bankroll with NYRA Bets. Opt in and bet at least $150 each on Belmont at the Big A and Pimlico on Friday for a $30 bonus, win or lose. Earn more on the Preakness Stakes. Bet at least $200 each on Belmont at the Big A and Pimlico for a $40 bonus, win or lose. Opt in to win at nyrabets.com. That's not all. Score big with a 20% bonus on your ticket winnings by hitting an exacta on any or all races at the Belmont at the Big A on Sunday. Get in and get your bonuses at nyrabets.com/SGPN200. We love Underdog Fantasy. You love Underdog Fantasy. We're going to give you more Underdog Fantasy plays for the Truck Series coming up very, very soon. In fact, tomorrow, by all means. So we're going to do that for you. But the NBA playoffs are here, and our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make them a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy, as you know, it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, so much more. And of course, in the world of racing, better than or worse than the projected finishes of the driver, just like you see on here, right? Carson Hocevar, 5.5. You're picking higher on that. Maybe back in the day, not anymore. Make your entries in all of basketball or mix and match across your favorite sports, just like racing or hockey or basketball or baseball, whatever it is you want. You can win up to 100 times your money, and it is a ton of fun. Underdog's available in 30 states, so make sure you get in on that and make sure your state is one of them. New customers, you're going to get a pick'em special in the lobby when you sign up. Underdog's also going to be running a ton of different promos, bonus cash airdrops, specials, giveaways, and more throughout the NBA playoffs. So make sure to follow at Underdog Picks on Twitter to keep an eye out. I said it before, I'll say it again. Underdog available in 30 states, including California, Texas, and Canada. They also just launched Champions, their player versus player format in Florida. So sign up today with promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN.
Truck stuff is up on Underdog, Rod. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about trucks for DFS and Underdog picks. Super excited to talk about those.
I am too. And go back yesterday, we did the All-Star race, DFS, and Underdog picks. Found some really good ones, as a matter of fact. I know there's only 20 cars in that race, so, I mean, not a lot of wiggle room. But
And while you're at it, sportsgamblingpodcast.com, Rod, I got an article over there with even more Underdog picks. We got you covered in the Underdog arena this week.
We sure do. Shameless plug. Gotta
That's
love
right.
it.
Laura did like the Preakness shout out. Sierra Leone, I think that's one of the names of the horses.
It is.
So guessing that's where Laura's got her money. And she's happy. I know she's in California. She's happy to know that Underdog is available in California. So
I think we're
it is a
neighbors,
good,
Laura.
yeah, there you go. it's a good way to have some action, skin in the game, and it's legal over there. So it's a great thing to play.
I'm just happy that I didn't trip over Pimlico.
You nailed it, Rod. I'm not even going to try to attempt.
Thank God. I only see that word like a couple of times a couple of times a year, and I was like, okay, read through Pimlico. Yes, I hit it. So
nailed it. Yes,
nailed it. I love me some horse racing. All right. So Cody, speaking of racing, truck racing, we got some bets for them, and hopefully they'll cash. So where do we begin?
Yeah, going to start with Nick Sanchez over Sammy Smith -115. Rod, I took a little jab at Sammy when I was reading off the entry list there. Do you remember, Rod, when he raced at Martinsville and came into the race as this big, heavy favorite, and we told you this was the most ridiculous thing we'd ever seen, and then he was battling for 18th place all day. There were some crashes at the end, and he looked into an 8th place finish, and that was all you got from him? Yes, that's the Sammy Smith that I'm talking about. Going to continue to fade him this week, Rod. Yeah, he's a late model guy. He's a short track guy. You're going to hear that about a lot of guys this week. I'm going to go against that on a few things because we didn't see it from Sammy in this same truck at Martinsville. Why are we going to see it from Sammy this weekend at North Wilkesboro? Maybe he finishes 8th again, fine. But for Nick Sanchez, Rod, he's been having a pretty solid season, especially here lately. Just finished 2nd place at Darlington last week. 4 top 6 finishes in a row. Sure, Sammy Smith finished 8th at Martinsville, but guess who was in 4th place? Was Nick Sanchez. Nick Sanchez finished 30th in this race last year, Rod. Don't care. Doesn't matter. That was last year, different track. I don't even know what the circumstances were. I'm assuming he was probably involved in an incident if he finished 30th. I didn't care enough to look because it doesn't matter. This is a fade of Sammy Smith. He's not been impressive in the Xfinity Series. He's not been impressive in the one start he made in the Truck Series. Again, he finished 8th place, but very much an outlier. He was not anywhere close to 8th place throughout the day. Got lucky at the end with some accidents, and that happens, right? And we would take that side of the bet if it cashed for us too, right? But Nick Sanchez, I think, is the much better driver. He's on fire right now. He's been, performing well week in and week out. I think Sammy Smith is going to be so battling for 15th. Sanchez is going to be a top 5, top 10 driver. So give me Nick Sanchez over Sammy Smith -115.
Feel like my days of undermining Nick Sanchez are over. We tried that and it bit us. And I think I'm with you. I'm on that side of it. And you're right. I mean, look, Sammy Smith, fantastic Xfinity driver in his own right. But for whatever reason, you put him in the truck. It's unless he learned a lot, unless he spent hours and hours in the sim like Lightning Queen.
He's not even did you say fantastic Xfinity driver?
Okay.
I mean, I'd have to look up the definition of fantastic, but I'm pretty sure Sammy Smith is not pictured next to it, Rod.
All right. Well, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but thanks for pouring cold water all over.
He's an okay Xfinity driver, I think.
Remember that glass half full that I am?
I'd consider the word poor based on the equipment he's in and how not good he performs in it, but we'll go with he's okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with another okay truck driver and borderline fantastic, and that's Rajah Caruth. Obviously, we know he's got a win earlier this season at Las Vegas. He is paired up against one Lane Riggs. I know that we love to, that 38 truck it's the stuff of legends, right? I mean, obviously we know Zane Smith drove it to much success in his career as a Truck Series driver, but Lane Riggs has not been able to capture that lightning in a bottle this season, unfortunately. In fact, you look at his starting positions this season, 14.9. He's at the average start position, but his average finish, 23.3. He's got 2 DNFs already this season. Lane has not finished better than 10th this season in any race other than Bristol. Bristol was the only place where he scored a top 10 finish. Outside of that, 33rd at Daytona, 33rd in Atlanta. Super Speedways, Rod, anything can happen. I get it. I understand. 22nd at Las Vegas, 10th at Bristol, 27th on the road course in Austin, and Martinsville, 15th, Fort Worth, 31st, Kansas, 18th, Darlington, 21st. Again, those are not good finishes. He's starting well. 8th place at Coda, 3rd at Martinsville, 7th in Texas, 8th at Darlington. He's just not finishing these races at all very well. And it's not, the truck, it's not the truck. Whatever's happening to him, Piano's maybe missing Majeski, but they're sure as hell hitting Lane Riggs right now. And it's happening quite a bit over the course of the season. Did not run in this race last year, but Zane Smith in that same 38 truck finished in 32nd. Now he got caught up in the mix and got taken out. He was running third at the end of stage 2, but that was, again, Zane Smith. That is not Lane Riggs. Rajah Caruth, on the other hand, does have a start here. Unfortunately, he crashed out in that 24 truck last year. Now, again, this is a much different Rajah Caruth than we saw in that 24 truck last year because he's running the rails. He won Vegas from the pole. Well, he didn't lead all the laps, but he started on the pole.
Still won from the pole.
Still won from the pole and still ended up winning that race. His average finish, 10.8. His average start, 11.8. He's got 1 win, 2 top 5s, 5 top 10s. 8th place at Bristol to follow that up. 7th place at Martinsville. We're talking short tracks here. So he's done very well for himself on those tracks. So I have full belief that Rajah Caruth is going to finish better than Lane Riggs. And the best part about this bet, it's plus money. Rajah Caruth plus 105 over Lane Riggs. That's the only, there's only one reason to take it, that's the reason. But this has a very good shot at cashing.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love this. I'm going to pile right on, Rod. I've got Taylor Gray over Lane Riggs. It's available over on Superbook, minus 110. Not even close, in my opinion. JDK mentioned it up at the top of the show, right? Does this track lean into Majeski and Riggs being pretty good here? Which should lean into Riggs being pretty good here because we saw him come out a couple of seasons ago and kind of show up at IRP and have this great run. And it was like, oh, watch out for this kid. I was so excited for him coming into the season, Rod, all on the Lane Riggs train. And it was like, okay, started the season rough. That's okay. Here we come. Short tracks coming up, Bristol, Martinsville. Yes, bet him top 5. Fucking sucked. He's been trash. I don't think why is he suddenly going to be any good this week, Rod, when he's not been good so far this season? I mean, you laid out really the good case against him, but 10th at Bristol, that's not going to get it done versus Taylor Gray. And if this is his type of track and he's in a fast truck in the 38 truck that's been good with Zane Smith before, with Todd Gilliland before, he's not living up to it. 15th place at Martinsville. That's even more damning if you're going to compare that. That's much more comparable to North Wilkesboro than Bristol is. And outside of that, he hasn't finished better than 18th this entire season, Rod. For Taylor Gray, on the other hand, so first of all, just a straight fade of Lane Riggs. So I think to your point of Rajah Caruth over him, I love that. And again, Caruth, much like Taylor Gray, actually, there's certain guys where you can't look back at everything they've done the last couple of seasons because the results have been different. They're different drivers and whatnot. And Gray is one of those. 27th place at Kansas, Rod. 19th at Daytona. Outside of that, and Kansas, he just got caught up in a wreck. It happens. Daytona's a super speedway, so toss it out, right? Outside of that, 8th place is the worst that Taylor Gray has finished the entire season. He beat him at Martinsville. He beat him at Bristol. He's going to beat him again this time. Throughout the entire season thus far, Rod, Kansas is the only race where Lane Riggs beat Taylor Gray head-to-head because Gray was involved in an accident, and then Riggs was trying to punch a guy over 20th place in the last lap. So just like I know I've already seen it. I've heard it. Oh, this is the Lane Riggs week. This is the week he comes out. This is the week. Why? If he hasn't done it so far this season, when you've had tracks like Martinsville where he should show up, where you have tracks like Bristol where he should show up, why is North Wilkesboro different? Why is he suddenly going to show up here? I like Lane Riggs. I think he's a talented kid, and I think at some point, maybe next season, we're talking about, well, you can't think about anything he did last season because it's completely different this year. Wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if later in the season we're saying that about Lane Riggs. But until I see it, Rod, big fade on him, especially when you're putting him up against a guy like Taylor Gray, who has been a 180 over what he was last season and has been running so good this season. Again, 2 finishes outside, worse than 8th place this entire season. Riggs doesn't even have an 8th place finish, not even one on the season, and only has 2 finishes better than 18th place. These two guys should not be matched up head-to-head. They're only matched up head-to-head because Gray had a bad race here last season and because Riggs should be good on short tracks, Rod. But until we see it, I'm out on Riggs. And as you know, part of the Shifties Club over here, I'm big on Tay Gray. So Robert checking in as well. What's up, guys? Said you weren't going live till 11 tonight. That was the plan. Rod and I have actually extremely busy lives, and so I think we've settled on 8 different times today where we were maybe possibly going to record. So we had a small window here to get it in, so getting it done. But thanks for joining us. It says, let's fucking go. Trucks is the bread and butter for betting. Couldn't agree with you more. And Laura said Taylor's going to be somebody soon. Completely agree. We've been banging, or at least I've been banging the Taylor Gray drum for 2 or 3 seasons now. And I knew it was coming. It's finally here, and love riding it.
Yep, I do too. And yeah, Robert, to your point, listen, we have had, so I mean, it's like the kids' last week of school in some cases. I got concerts going on. There's all kinds of end of school madness. So
got softball games and then this and that and family.
And we're already 2 hours away from each as far as you know how we are. So it's like
we're in different time zones. It's not as easy to coordinate as it probably should be.
Yeah. Back to Lane Riggs real quick, just to wrap it up before we go to break. I wanted to say that I'll have a beer with him, but I had to make sure he was old enough. Lane Riggs is 22, old enough to have a beer. I don't know if you partake, Lane, but let's have some beers together. And
He's 22. Wow. I thought he would have been younger. I wanted to bring this up real quick from JDK too. Bringing up Group B over on Bet365, I'm guessing. Has Lane Riggs, Caruth, Ankrum, and Enfinger. Says if we're into Caruth over Riggs, would it be more worth it to take Caruth in Group B? I'm going to say no, because I'm going to make a strong case for Enfinger here in a few minutes. And Ankrum, it's not been the greatest from him all season, but he's got those flashes in it. So I think I'm much more comfortable taking the head-to-head. I don't know that I'm so in on Caruth that I want to take him in this group.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to take him in this group. When you put the group up there, I was like, no way. The other last one scares me. The favorite one scares me, or the least favorite one scares me in that one, actually.
Yeah, actually the most, yeah.
Yeah, the one with the longest odds. I love it. All right, speaking of long odds, me enjoying buying tickets on an app, those are some long odds right there. You want to put that down? That's got to be pretty well up there for me to actually enjoy buying tickets. Although, if you put in front of me the odds for me enjoying buying tickets on Game Time, you're going to have to make those very, very short, because I do enjoy buying tickets on Game Time. So simple, right? I mean, they give you the lowest prices on last minute tickets, because I'm a procrastinator. Literally put stuff off until the very last minute. And then by that point, especially if I'm trying to buy tickets, now I'm paying 3 or 4 times what I would have paid if I would have just been able to buy them right when I wanted to buy them in the first place. Well, Game Time takes away the stress of that and the penalty for me being such a huge procrastinator. Thank you, Game Time, because you are going to get the best deals on last minute tickets. Save up to 60% off of buying tickets last minute for sports, concerts, comedies, theaters, whatever it is you want to see. They've got it. They got the tickets for it. They'll sell it to you for 60% off on last minute deals. Plus, they got flash deals. Save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. Some events more or save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats with their zone deals. Plus, they got all-in pricing. You can see the total up front. There's no surprise fees at checkout, and you're going to get a picture of the seat in which you are, a panoramic view even of the seat, of the view that you're going to get when you buy it. Like I said, they've got the lowest prices guaranteed, or if you find a better one, Game Time is going to credit you 110% of the difference of that ticket that you found. Plus, you're going to get the Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered through the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CFBX for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create that account, redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So many things about my tickets. For sure.
Yes. No, it is. I've got going to a Yankees Royals game next month, Rod. I did get a couple of free tickets from Vet Tick. Shout out to them. They're pretty awesome organization, but taking some family, so gonna have to buy a couple more. Probably will wait to the last minute and then use Game Time, because it sounds like a solid plan to me. Jessica says thanks for getting it in early. Laura agreeing, glad you did. Glad you guys are all with us. We appreciate it. Andrew checking in. His car, a Toyota, broke down on the side of the road today. Ugh, man, I've been there too many times. That is rough. Hope it's not an omen for the weekend as well. Maybe don't bet on any Toyotas, but hopefully we can win you some money to fix your car this weekend would be a good thing. Laura says Thirsty Thursday.
Join you in a second, Laura.
Yeah, there you go. And JDK, thanks, fellas, for breaking down that group. Speaking of Grant Enfinger, we just talked about that group, Rod.
Are you going to skip right over my next bet?
Oh, shit, it is your turn, isn't it?
Cody's so anxious to get to the
I was really anxious to talk about Grant Enfinger, so stay tuned. That's coming up next, right after this word from Rod Villagomez.
All right, so I'm going to bring you Brendan McQueen, Lightning McQueen. No, I'm just kidding. Brendan Queen. Cody talked about him a second ago. He is that Cars Tour driver taking over the one truck this week for Tricon. This will be his first ever truck race start. Unbelievable, but this is his first ever truck race start. He has made one start in the ARCA Menard series in 2019, but he is a Cars Tour guy who just so happens to have won a Cars Tour race on this very track as well. So he does know victory on this track as part of the Cars Tours. His top 5 number, 11-1. That's why I'm taking this. On Bet365, you can find his number at 11-1 for a top 5. It is a stretch. However, I will say that we have done well with guys in good equipment this season, especially in Xfinity, right? Looking at you, 88 car, being able to get us into the top 5. And at 11-1 for the one truck in particular, I love it. What has the one truck done this season that has given me so much to hang my hat on? Well, I will say that it has a top 5 finish, courtesy of Christopher Bell. Yes, I know it's not Brendan Queen, but Christopher Bell took this truck to a 5th place finish in Las Vegas. Jack Hawksworth, we talked about him, remember? In Coda, took this to a 6th place finish. And then the last 2 races that this truck has been on, Brett Moffitt, 5th place finish in Kansas. Started 19th in that race, by the way. Drove it all the way up to 5th. And then Colby Howard last week, 7th place finish. Colby Howard, who we talked about too in that one truck, went from 18 to 7th in that truck. Look, the guy already has won a race on this track, right? Granted, it was the Cars Tour. But look, when you know how to get around this track, when you know the ins and outs, all you got to do now is figure out what you're doing with the truck that you're in. And he's a talented enough driver, I think, that can get this done. Last season, Bubba Wallace took this same one truck from 14th place to 5th. This truck knows its way inside and around the top 5. I almost feel like it doesn't matter who's driving. Maybe Lightning McQueen is driving this car, and whoever's sitting there is literally just the passenger while Lightning McQueen is ka-chowing all over the place. So I will take an 11-1 long shot on a truck that knows how to get into the top 5. I left out obviously some of the stats that 27th at Daytona for Tony Brenninger, 17th for Atlanta. Again, it doesn't matter. William Sawalich got a 21st place at Bristol. Doesn't matter. Sawalich 26th at Martinsville. Again, doesn't matter. I'm banking everything on Brendan Queen getting into the top 5 in that one truck at 11-1.
Yeah, well, that's the key, right? It's 11-1. If Lane Riggs was 11-1, and now we're talking, Rod. You're probably going to place that bet, right? And we've seen it from these guys. You get these experienced drivers jumping into these Xfinity rides green, getting top 5s, getting top, having these good runs. And maybe it's just he runs around top 10 all day, keeps it clean. There's a late wreck. You get an overtime finish. Boom, squeaks into the top 5 in the last lap. You cash this at 11-1. This is a great bet to make. Definitely somebody I had circled. So I'm glad that you put him in here because at 11-1, you definitely have to get a little bit in on him because we know how talented of a driver he is. We know it's a good, solid truck too. We've seen some other people, Jack Hawksworth most recently, jump in, have good runs in the truck. He definitely could do it. He's got experience on this track, winning here already last season, like you mentioned, in the Cars Tour. Again, hopefully on the Cars Tour race this week. I should probably know when that is, but actually it's even happening right now, Rod. Who knows?
I was going to say it's May 15th is when it is. So that was yesterday, but I think you're right.
Well, it was supposed to be yesterday, but it got rained out. So I think they moved it to today, but I haven't seen any updates on if that was going on or whatever. So Andrew checking in again. Larson will help fix his car. Hopefully you got in on Larson at the 9-1 price. Definitely a good one. Jessica saying Laura's wondering who's going to win Xfinity this week. I think they're just teasing Laura at this point, Rod, because I know they always put that in the chat when Xfinity is not racing. But I answered Taylor Gray anyways because he's going to win the truck race. He's a sometimes Xfinity driver. So, and Andrew's saying, my bad, we're on the trucks. Hey, we could toss some Cup plays in too. We did talk about Larson on the Cup Series episode. So make sure you go back and listen to that one. All right, Rod, been waiting to get to this one. Grant Enfinger top 5 plus 350. I like this one a lot. I think the number is good. I think that there's still some uncertainty with Grant Enfinger around this equipment, right? And if this number was much shorter, I probably wouldn't like it, but it's right in the sweet spot. Plus 350. If he comes out and he runs like shit, okay, we weren't sure on the equipment, but he's got the upside of running well. Last week at Darlington, Rod, he was running in second place. Flat tire, has to pit, ends up finishing in 16th. So result not indicative of how he ran. 9th place at Bristol, not too far out of the top 5 there. Last season, Rod, 6th place finish at Bristol. He won in Milwaukee. 3rd place at Bristol in the other race. 10th place here in North Wilkesboro. He's dominated IRP before. He is a short track guy. He's one of the veterans that you think of when you come to the short tracks, when you come to the flat tracks. Grant Enfinger always pops to mind. You get him at a good number at plus 350. That's what really makes me like it. And what makes me scared of taking Carruth in that group that JDK mentioned earlier, because I think Enfinger has an opportunity. And there is that chance he just comes out and loses an egg, because the equipment isn't the GMS equipment he's been in. He's not, unfortunately, it's just not that reliable. But we've seen some flashes. Results have been more down than up this season. I will say that. But we've seen the flashes, a couple of decent finishes, great run last week. Hopefully they're using that, building on that momentum. He's a veteran driver. I think that he'll show up and do well here. So give me Grant Enfinger at the number that I really like here at plus 350 for a top 5.
So, spoiler alert too, I did have him as one of my favorites to actually win this race. I'm with you on this top 5 for sure. However, I changed last minute because I thought we're already going to talk about him, probably already going to figure out that he may end up, but if he's in the top 5, I think he's got a shot to win. This is actually, that's why he's the cover guy for this particular episode, is because I have a sneaky feeling that he is going to be able to come out and win this race and maybe turn around
odds to win, Rod.
What's been a frustrating, a little short. What are his odds to win? I think it's a little shorter than I wanted to play.
Now you got me thinking maybe we need to toss it out there, or at least tell the people what his odds are for sure.
Well, so I've got him
25 to 1.
25 to 1. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's It's like right on the border of where I would definitely consider that. I went a different direction with my outrights, but hey, 25 to 1 if you're feeling Enfinger, I definitely don't hate it. And I think for a top 5, he could be. I haven't got to DFS yet. I haven't looked at salaries or what's on Underdog, but could be a guy targeting over there as well.
Yeah, I agree. But then I also like all 3 of these guys, and I know you're on a couple of them actually, or at least one of them for an outright. So the next 3 guys for mine, actually, I don't know if it's in the speakeasy or if it's in the regular one. I didn't look. I just clicked automatically.
It's in the regular Caesars part.
Okay. Yeah. So the Caesar speakeasy is still there, but this is actually available in the main buffet menu for Caesars. All to be in the top 5 at the end of the race: Ross Chastain, Corey Hyman, Eric Almirola. I'm surprised that this is at plus 750 for this. I'm wondering if the Almirola part of this is the reason that they're making this as long as they are. Cody just said it. He hasn't made a Truck Series start since 2012, has Eric Almirola. However, he did have 2 top 10s and a top 5 in that 2020 or 2012 season when he made 3 starts. He's got 2 career Truck Series wins. Look, Eric Almirola driving that 16 truck. We know Tyler Ankrum ran that truck last year. Didn't have a whole lot of success in that one, but he did pop up in certain spots. Kansas, he had a 9th place finish, did Tyler Ankrum. He also had a 10th place finish at Kansas as well. 15th at Darlington, an 8th place at Nashville, 10th place at Mid-Ohio, 13th at Richmond. So, Tyler Ankrum did okay in that 16 truck. Like Cody said, the 16 has not run this season, but this is an instance where I truly believe that driver talent is going to lift and elevate that truck, because Eric Almirola is a far better driver, I think, in my opinion. No offense to Tyler Ankrum, but years of Cup Series experience has given Eric Almirola, and obviously he's got nothing else to drive for. Like, this is he's got a week off of Xfinity, so what do? You jump in the trucks and you try that out as well. And I don't think a 5th place finish for him is out of. We saw last week, right? Unfortunately, he didn't get the finish that he wanted out of that race in Xfinity, but he was running very well, and he was running to maybe be able to win the race if something had broke his way. So we couldn't count out that car as well. Same, I think, for this truck. I think he'll outdrive it. Ross Chastain, he won last week. Can he do it again? I don't know. I like his odds to do it, so we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I do believe that a top 5 finish for Ross Chastain is highly likely, if not almost a sure thing. So you got to put him up there as well. And that 45 truck, we were scared of it a couple of races ago. We didn't see the sort of speed that he showed last week, and then all of a sudden he just shows up last week and wins the race. Of course, there's a lot of stuff going on there, but I still think at the end of that, he might have been a top 5 truck anyways, regardless of what happened there at the end. He definitely had the strategy right and everything right to get there. So Ross Chastain, definitely a top 5 truck as well. And then Corey Heim, if you've listened to this show for 10 minutes, you know our feelings on Corey Heim. Cody says it all the time. Fastest truck in the best equipment. The guy outpaces the field. He's won races this season. He's been in position to win races this season. Should have won last week. Unfortunately, got gypped out of that one as well. So he's going to be pissed off. He's going to come back to this track, bang his way at least to a 5th place finish. Again, if not the win. I mean, you can kind of circle it, but his odds to win this race this week are 275 plus 275. Ain't nobody betting on that one when there's a couple of other folks in there. But yeah, so all 3, Ross Chastain, Corey Heim, and Eric Almirola to be top 5 trucks at plus 750. I'll take that.
Yeah, I like it. I think the number is great at plus 750. I mean, Heim, you're chalking him to be there, right? Unless he gets wrecked, he will be in the top 5 at the end of the day. It's just how it is. Chastain, you saw it last week. He's going to hang around and be there. Probably won't be the fastest truck on the day, but he's going to be right around 5th place at the end of the day. Eric Almirola obviously hasn't raced since 2012, so that's the biggest wild card here. I'm going to make a solid case for Almirola here in a bit, though, and I think it's a good combination. Sometimes it's going to be hard to hit 3 out of 5, but plus 750, I think you're getting a really good number for it, Rod.
Yep. And again, this truck series, when you look at the top of the charts, that's usually where most of the production comes from. It's not, long shots are great and fine and well, right? Like Brendan Queen this week, fun long shot, but more often than not, your Corey Heims are taking it down. Your Christian Eckeses are taking it down. Like it's just not a whole lot of variance.
Yeah. And there's 2 ways that it can go at the end of these races is it stays green and Heim wins and Eckes is there and it's Chastain, it's Almirola, or you get a bunch of chaos and Brendan Queen sneaks in there and gets your top 5, right? So you're banking on getting one or the other, which is pretty good. Robert checking in. Truck drivers have the funniest names. Every time you say Enfinger, I chuckle. You got Enfinger, you got Jack Wood, you got Lawless Allen. That's just a great name in general. But another truck driver that I've got my eyes on this week, Rod. It's always tough for me to pull the trigger on him, but I could not leave him off the card. Give me some Ty Majeski, top 5, minus 120. So it's minus 140 in some spots. So I know Bet365 has it at minus 120, but I felt like I needed to get in on Ty Majeski in some way. I definitely don't have the cojones to take him outright, Rod, so not going there. But you look back at Ty Majeski, avoided the piano last week at Darlington, 5th place finish. That would cash your top 5 there. He was 2nd place at Martinsville. Again, there's a lot of comparisons from Martinsville to here. He was 2nd place last season here in this race, only to Kyle Larson, who's not even in the race this weekend. Last season as well, won at IRP, probably one of the more comparable tracks to this. 2nd place at Bristol, 4th place at Martinsville. He is a short track guy. I know we fade him a lot. Short tracks is definitely where I don't like to fade him because he can show up. If Ty Majeski comes out and wrecks on lap 2, Rod, well, I have another bet in a minute to help cover that happening. And just in case it does, I won't be completely shocked. But, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked to see Ty Majeski win this race this weekend. I'm not going to bet him because I think he's only, was he like plus 600, plus 650 or something? Yeah. So it's definitely not a big enough number for some other guys that I like even more. But I think just to finish in the top 5, Ty Majeski, minus 120 is a good bet because he should be really good at this track. And they seem to have started to figure some things out. He's gotten a couple of good finishes here. And he's had some chances to win that kind of got squandered late. So I think he will be in the top 5. So give me Ty Majeski, minus 120.
That was another name that I had written in the block and then erased because, again, plus 650. I was like, and then you were going to talk about him too. And I was like, honestly, we could talk about him winning this race, but I still don't really truly believe that he'll win this race. He did finish 2nd, like you said. So it's not without warrant that we think that he could end up winning this race, but
absolutely.
It's going to take more for me.
He's one of those ones that you're sweating on when you go to push that button to place that bet, Rod. It's like, It's the meme of the guy with all the sweat pouring off his face, and you're like, all right, here we go. He's going to make you work for it, but I do think he will be fast this weekend.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one as well. Who else will be fast? I'm going to add on. I should have probably just truck lifted this one, but to be honest with you, there was not a lot of other stuff to bet on. So, and I didn't want to give a lot of head-to-heads out, so I didn't truck lift this. So I'll just tack on and add a Chastain top 3 at plus 300. Look, he actually did race this race last year in the 41 truck, and he finished in 9th place in that race. I know it's not a top 3, but also the simple fact of the matter is he was off and on in that 41 truck as well last season. But in that race, you had Kyle Larson, you had Carson Hocevar, you had Bubba Wallace in that one as well. And so those are already 3 drivers that you could just toss out right there. Then Matt DiBenedetto was in that. I think I already said that. Matt DiBenedetto not in this race this week again. Matt Crafton probably not going to put together a top 7 finish in this race, so you could toss him out as well. Chase Purdy, I don't know. Is he going to turn in another top 10 performance in a truck that's not Kyle Busch's truck? Maybe, maybe not. So I'll toss his name out too. So we already got rid of 3 more names out of that. Well, now we just keep moving him up the list. And like I said, plus he just won last week. I think he's good for a top 5, could be good for a top 3. I'll even go farther up that list later on in the show. But I have a heavy feeling that Ross Chastain is going to be feeling it this week. And of course, again, this week is not a points race for the Cup guys. So there's no stress. There's no race stress for him there other than maybe winning $1 million in the All-Star race. But there's a different kind of pressure that comes with that than there is trying to get ready for a normal race week. This is just Ross Chastain being able to go out and have some fun, right? Race around in that 45 truck again and take it back to victory lane. So, Ross Chastain, 3-1 too for a top 3. That's why I love this number. It doesn't feel like it's right, but you got to swoop on it now because at 3-1, I think he's going to be there at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you look back at last week, right? He wasn't necessarily a top 3 driver all day, but kept it clean. You had the late chaos. He jumped on it and ends up getting the win. So that's what you're hoping from Chastain. All right, Rod, I'm going to go to the top Ford market. Ty Majeski is minus 200 to be the top finishing Ford. Well, we're covered with him for the top 5, right? This is a way to cover ourselves in case something happens to Ty Majeski. You're going to kind of cover the back door over here. So Majeski's minus 200. Lane Riggs is plus 280, Rod, for whatever reason. There's only 8 Fords also in this field. So you got guys like Josh Rayum, Lawless Allen, Connor Jones, Jake Garcia. But right above those guys, 2 guys that I'm zoned in on here, Ben Rhodes, Matt Crafton. Rhodes is 6-1. Matt Crafton is 9-1 or 9 plus 950 rather. I'm also going to toss out Matt Crafton for a top 5. I know you just shit all over him, which is fine. But at 7-1 for a top 5, I'm just going to keep betting on Crafton to get top 5s until he does it again because he did it not too long ago. So the thinking here, Rod, is Majeski likely is going to win top Ford. But things happen, especially to Majeski. So if things happen and he gets out of the way, not worried in any way, shape, or form about Lane Riggs. I don't think he's going to be the top Ford. So then you got Crafton and Rhodes right there as the next 2 guys, plus 650, plus 950, or plus 600 and plus 950. Then it's Jake Garcia, not worried about Connor Jones, Lawless Allen, Josh Rayum. I'm not worried about those guys. So it's going to come down to Majeski, Rhodes, and Crafton. If you're giving me 2 of those guys at 6-1 and plus 950, I will take that, especially when they're Matt Crafton and Ben Rhodes. As far as Crafton goes, Rod, we've been talking about him all season. He's had some strong runs, and he's been good. He was good last week, and then he gets caught up in the Dean Thompson wreck, right? So it happens. But 10th place at Kansas, Rod, guess what? 10th place, top finishing Ford on the day. There's only 8 in the field, only a couple that are going to finish good up near the top. You don't have to be top 5 to cash this. Top Ford was 10th place that day. He was 12th place at Martinsville, Rod. Well, he was the 2nd Ford on the day, only to Ty Majeski, which is what you expect this week. He should be the next best or 3rd best Ford to Ty Majeski this week. But if Ty Majeski goes out, things happen, right? You go back to Texas, Rod. Majeski was 10th that day, and Lawless Allen actually was 11th. But those were the top finishing Fords. He was 15th. He was right behind them, not very far out of being the top finishing Ford. Bristol, somewhat of a comparable track to this. 4th place run by Matt Crafton. That's why I'm tossing that top 5 in there as well. So I love Matt Kraft this week, both for the top 5 and the top finishing Ford. And then for Ben Rhodes, second place finish last week, right? To Ross Chastain late. We had him 35-1 outright, got so close. So that felt nice. 5th place finish at Phoenix in the fall last year, 7th at Bristol last season, 12th at Richmond, 6th at Martinsville last season as well. I know this season's not been great for Rhodes up until last week, but they made the crew chief change. We jumped on him last week. I think they could continue to build on that. And he's one of those guys that it's kind of like a Joey Logano, where he's going to kind of sometimes show up and doesn't. And if he doesn't show up, it's plus 600 or whatever, not a big deal. But might not really have to show up. He could finish 10th or 12th and still be the top finishing Ford if something happens to Majeski. Maybe one of these guys finishes 3rd or 4th. Majeski finishes 5th. You end up cashing all this stuff. So I think that this is a good way to hedge off of Majeski having a good run. And you're getting really good value for what is essentially a smaller group. And you're kind of counting the last 4 or 5 guys out of this. I mean, to me, it really is just these 3 guys. So you're almost putting Rhodes versus Majeski head-to-head at plus 600 and Crafton versus Majeski at plus 950. Okay, I'll take that because it kind of works out that way. So attacking this top manufacturer market again. Also, that is over on Caesars. That part is in the speakeasy. So again, why they have everything so fucked up, who knows? If you don't know what we're talking about, hit us up offline and we'll once again explain how to get into their stupid way of hiding bets from everyone, but they're there for the taking, so we want to make sure we get them.
We'll show you the secret knock and the passcode to get into the speakeasy for sure. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. Either one of these guys can, but I don't feel confident. And that's why they're 6-1. You made some good cases, so I'll let that, but I still don't like
10th place, 12th place could be enough, Rod.
It could be. However, look, don't ever catch me rooting against the old guys. So let's go, Matt Crafton. Old guy to old guy. I'll take you on that as well. All right. Well, listen, I am going to go back to a couple of different winning truck numbers and winning manufacturer. I was going to, again, space these out, but I put them both in one box just because I found the Brendan Queen top 5 number that I really like. So I'm squeezing 2 of them in. So the winning truck number, this is in the speakeasy, so you got to go into that. 18.5 is the number that it's set at right now. Minus 120 for the under 18.5. I like the under 18.5. And I like it for a couple of different reasons. Because you do get in that Sammy Smith, if he accidentally drives well and covers it and does it, is he going to do it? No, but look, if he does and nobody's on him, at least you're on him this way, right? You won't be too pissed off because you'll have the under 18.5, but you're going to get Grant Enfinger, get Corey Heim. You're going to get Eric Almirola just in case he happens to do it. You're going to get Taylor Gray. You're going to get Tyler Ankrum. Like, I feel like that's a decent enough cross section, especially because of the Corey Heim, obviously. Number 11 truck, if he ends up winning this race, and you have this, and you have the other 19 different ways to get in on him and win, you're going to keep winning money off of this. It's going to be like when you pull on the slot machine and it just keeps paying out. That's what's going to happen. All these bets are going to pay out for you. So Corey Heim, obviously the big one, but again, if you don't feel comfortable betting on Grant Enfinger as an outright, here's another way to get in on Grant Enfinger as an outright. You don't feel comfortable betting on a guy like Eric Almirola outright, then this is your way of getting in on Eric Almirola as an outright. Like, I know that a lot of people don't always like to throw money out on the outrights because only one hit. So this gives you 10, 12, 13 different options to be able to do it. Obviously, only 2 or 3 of them are viable, but those 2 or 3 that are viable could very easily be the one to do it. So give me the winning truck number under 18.5. And then I will take the winning manufacturer as Chevy in this race. Obviously, a Chevy won it last year with Kyle Larson on this track. And you just got more Chevys than anybody else in this entire race. I mean, like I said, Sanchez, I'm not high on him, but he's a Chevy. Sammy Smith, not high on him, but he's a Chevy. Enfinger, you got Eckes, you got all these guys that are in this. You got Raja Karuth who could sneak up and win this race, right? You got Daniel Dye, you got Ross Chastain. I know I threw Daniel Dye in there just because I love the hair, but
Michael Waltrip's happy you threw him in there.
He loves it. Now I'm getting royalty checks from Michael Waltrip for tossing out Daniel Dye's name. But yeah, honestly, you've got a lot of heavy hitters. Obviously, Corey Heim does not fall within that realm of possibility, but Chastain wins this race and you didn't put anything on him. Raja Karuth wins this race. You didn't put anything on him. Enfinger, Eckes, like all of these guys, if you don't put money down on them, there's a heavy field of Chevys in this track, and you'll be happy. Chevy to win is -105, so it's not even that heavily juiced, which means, again, I think this is a solid bet that gives you a lot of different options, just like the winning truck under 18.5.
Yeah, I have no arguments from me this week, Rod. I will accept your decisions on these bets.
I love it. I love it indeed. Saying hello to Nick Fortune in the chat, saying Jack Wood.
Evening, Nick. Yes, you can bet on Jack Wood this week because Jack Wood is in the race. All right, Rod, should we get to the outright section?
I think we should pick some winners, Cody.
I think we should. So, I kind of had been going back and forth, and I decided to go ahead and add this in there. Caesars has got the option for either Christian Eckes or Corey Heim to win at +115. Corey Heim is +275 to win. Pretty short. Can't hate on it, obviously, if you want to do it. I think that this is a better way to cut because I'm going to bet Eckes at 4-1. Originally, that was the way I decided to go. Going to take Eckes at 4-1, but I'm going to toss this out there as well because it's doubling down on Eckes, and it gives you some Heim insurance in there. So I like that. Then it's not you're just betting Heim and you're just betting Eckes, both at shorter numbers. Makes it less profitable. This one, you're double dipping on Eckes and covering yourself on Heim. So I think that's the way to go. So either to win, Corey Heim or Christian Eckes. We didn't talk much about Heim today, Rod. You had him in your top 5 bet with the 3 guys, and I've got him in this one. And the reason why is because his numbers are atrocious this week. I mean, he is like -150 in his head-to-heads. His top 3 is not even good. He's like Max Verstappen. Numbers are top 5, and he's only +275 to win the race because you don't really have. Yeah, you've got the Almirola's in here and Chastain's, but there's not the Kyle Larson or the Kyle Busch in this race. That's what happens to these numbers when they're not. So I think going in on both of them, look, we know this is the Heim and Eckes show. It has been all season. It was again last week. Now, neither of them won the race, but at points, both of them were well on their way to winning the race. Probably going to happen more times than it doesn't, Rod. So I do like getting it on both. But then I'm also going to take Christian Eckes by himself at 4-1. You look back through the season, Rod, and how things have gone. Christian Eckes has won both Bristol and Martinsville. That's a pretty good sign for me when we're coming to a track like this. He's been top 4 straight races, top 6 in 7 of the last 8 races. And actually, in all 7 of those races, he's been inside the top 8. So Eckes is consistently there at the end of the day, like Heim is as well. But showing up at Bristol and Martinsville, those are promising things for me. He won Phoenix in the fall, 3rd place at Milwaukee last year, 2nd at Bristol, 2nd at IRP. He's, excuse me, he's really good everywhere, but he's especially good on these shorter tracks. And Heim, I have nothing bad to say about him as well, but I think Eckes does get the edge. And you're getting him obviously at 4-1 instead of the +275. So I like going Eckes at 4-1. I like taking both at +115, having the double dip and the Heim insurance, I think is the way to go. Also, Rod, I'm going to toss Eric Almirola out there at 10-1. I know he hasn't been in a truck since 2012. And Hattori, like I mentioned, I don't think has run any races this season. I need to go back and check on that. I'll correct myself later if
16 has not been in the race. So
okay, beautiful. Yeah, I didn't think so. But they're a former like truck champion winning team, and Eric Almirola is not going to get in a truck that's not going to have some type of a chance. So Eric Almirola, Rod, short flat track king. He is really good at them. We've seen him run really well for JGR, jumping in the Xfinity stuff. I would imagine there's probably some Gibbs hands being put on this truck, helping to prepare it for the weekend. Toyota is going to be involved as well. So, and maybe they even farm that out to Tricon or something like that. Wouldn't be surprised by that. I think 10-1's a good number for Almirola. Didn't find anywhere else really to bet on him. I know you had him in your top 5 there as the group top 5. But I think that just taking him to win the thing or in that scenario is the better way because it could kind of go either way. If he comes out, he's not good. He was 10-1. But there's a chance he shows up and he's really good because he's really good on this style of tracks. You think he's randomly picking a truck race to come run, Rod? No, he's picking and choosing where he's racing. He's here for a reason. And I think that's a good reason. So Eric Almirola 10-1. And then also for the shifties out there, Taylor Gray at 14-1. Sung his praises earlier when I was talking about him in the head-to-head, but dude has been on fire. He's not that far away from getting a win, Rod. Maybe Eckes and Heim have some type of issue. Maybe they end up out of this thing. Maybe he just beats them. It could go either way. You don't have the Larson or the Busch in here to hold him back. Taylor Gray is going to be in the mix at the end. 14-1. I think he's a good bet as well.
You know what? I love Taylor Gray. I love him every week, and I think I love him this week as well. So good call on Taylor Gray, who, by the way, does drive himself. I think he's going to do very well for himself. I'm very excited to watch that guy work. So I'm with you on that one as well. Eric Almirola, like I said, I was going to kind of lift him as well, but I'm glad you put him in there. So my outright look, it's Ross Chastain, 10-1. Can he come back and do it again? Probably not. But 10-1, I feel like that doesn't really tell the entire story, given that we saw Kyle Larson come in and absolutely, run this race over and win last year. So can a Cup guy come in and do it again? If that Cup guy comes in and does it again, it's likely Ross Chastain, as he did it last week. I mean, he wasn't the fastest truck all day long. And in fact, he wasn't the fastest truck even at the end, to be honest with you. Probably shouldn't have won that race, but he did. And if something like that happens again, I just think 10-1 is a number that you got to take a chance on for Ross Chastain. We've already talked about everything he's done so far. And look, his Cup season is not going the best right now. It's not what he expected it to be. I don't think he really thought he would be where he's at right now. So he needs to blow off a little steam. And I think last week that truck race helped him do it. I think he'll settle back into this truck again this week and remember what it's like. I think he'll qualify well. I think he'll come out and run well. And at 10-1, I mean, I'm surprised he's not shorter. I'm surprised he's not 5-1 or 4-1.
Imagine Rod coming out at plus 850 with Kyle Busch in the field and winning. And then the next week, right after you won, Kyle Busch isn't even in the field and your number's bigger. It's crazy. Like, how does that make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. And I get it wasn't a dominant performance and he didn't, lead a ton of laps or anything, but he was there. Like, I don't know. It's really weird how that's kind of shook out.
Oh, that is kind of crazy, but I'll take it. I mean, listen, like I said, we'll jump on that value just in case he does go back to back and win. JDK wrapping things up with the totally random F1 pod reference. Make sure you go listen to the F1 pod. We've got the odds out right now, or our bets out for the Emilia Romagna race over there in Italy. He says if you parlay Ferrari fastest lap with Ferrari fastest pit stop, it's 25-1.
Ooh. A little bonus F1 bet for you if you haven't listened yet. I like Ferrari fastest lap, and Rod likes Ferrari fastest pit stop. So, make sure you maybe get in on that and go check out the F1 Gambling Podcast. Again, Rod, it is this show. It's the same exact thing. Literally nothing changes except for the graphics, and we have a different intro. And then it's us talking about F1 instead of NASCAR, but betting on it the same types of ways and kind of looking at it from a different angle. It's a lot of fun. We've had a lot of success. Dos Flacco's checking in. Cheers, boys. Make sure you go back and listen, Dos Flacco's. I said good things about your boy.
You sure did. Yeah, go back and listen to that for sure. All right, speaking of going back, we're going to go back and go over our betting card for this Wright Brand 250 from the North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. A lot of Norths in there. Cody started you out with Nick Sanchez over Sammy Smith at minus 115. That's right, Sammy Smith is in the truck race if you failed to listen to the beginning. Then I gave you Rajah Caruth over Lane Riggs at plus 105. Make sure you go get that at plus money. I like it at minus money, but make sure you get this at plus money as well. Cody gave you Taylor Gray over Lane Riggs at minus 110. I said that Brendan Queen, a newcomer to the Truck Series Cars Tour experience guy, 11-1 is a top 5 car. You can find that, or truck rather, at 365. Cody gave you Grant Enfinger as a top 5 truck at plus 360, or 350 rather. I gave you all of Chastain, Hyman, Almirola to be top 5 trucks at the end of the day at plus 750. Cody said Ty Majeski would be a top 5 truck at minus 120. I said that Ross Chastain would be a top 3 car on top of that at 3-1. Cody gave you Cody Rhodes. I've been watching wrestling way too much lately. Ben Rhodes at 6-1 and Matt Crafton at plus 950 and at plus 700 for a top 5 for Matt Crafton as well. I said that the winning truck would be under 18.5 at minus 120. I said the winning manufacturer would be the Chevy manufacturer at minus 105. And then Cody gave you either Hyman Eckes at plus 115 to win, Eckes alone at 4-1, Eric Almirola at 10-1, Taylor Gray at 14-1. And I said Ross Chastain, and Dos Flacco saying, whoa!
I'm assuming that's the reaction to the Ty Majeski bet coming from me.
No. Well, that could be it, or it could be Cody Rhodes.
Is that a wrestling thing?
That is a Cody Rhodes.
It could be. Could be both, I guess. So
Could
there
be
you go.
all of them. I'll take the Majeski part of it for you, though. That's it. But yeah, Cody Rhodes. I just watched Backlash, WWE Backlash this morning, so I literally I'm all wrestled up right now. So, all right.
When Ben Rhodes catches us a nice big bet this weekend on Top Ford, Rod, you can just refer to me as Cody Rhodes next week.
I will. And Dos Flacco's Majeski to finish the story and defend it right next week on his next thing. All right, Cody, that's it for the betting card. Let's do some fantasy picks to close out the show. Where do we stand right now?
I'm so glad you reminded me, Rod, because I forgot again. Now I got to pull it up. So unfortunately, the NASCAR betting preview show, by the way, they are going to be live this evening. Oh gosh,
9 Eastern. So
yeah,
they've
9 Eastern time over on the IBT YouTube channel. So make sure you go check them out. They didn't have no NASCAR betting preview show this weekend, so they're doing the Truck Series episode live. So I'll definitely will be tuning in for that because they're of course the guys we were competing with against this. Unfortunately, they cut a little bit more, gained some more ground on us, Rod, last week. But only 8 points, right? We scored. Oh yeah, they scored 297. We scored 289. So only 8 points. We still have a 165 point lead over them. So 8 points at a time. Not going to not going to kill things. Bet Rivers checking in again, by the way. Love the betting segment. Thank you, Bet Rivers. We appreciate that. We also love the betting segment. It's kind of the whole thing about the show is that. So okay, so Rod, let's go and make our selections for North Wilkesboro Speedway. Okay, a driver. We played Kyle Busch last week. That was not good. So here's some options. We have got.
Let's never do that again, Cody, by the way.
Well, we won't have to this season.
Exactly.
Ben Rhodes, we still got 8 starts left with him. Eckes, we still have 8 starts left with. Heim, we still have 8 starts. We've been saving our big dogs, Rod. 8 starts left with Heim. Jake Garcia, Matt Crafton, Nick Sanchez, Ty Majeski, we still have 9 starts with. So really, I think we either go Eckes, Heim, or Majeski.
This is the pick your poison. I'm not quite sure which poison I want to die on yet. Because I want to die on a Majeski? This feels like the week. No,
I think Heim.
I think Heim. If we have 8 starts with Heim,
I went with Eckes for my outright. I feel he's been getting the better finishes. I don't know, because that's the problem. They're all 3 are very playable. So really, we can go whichever one you want, Rod. I'm good with any of the 3. Which one do you want to go?
All right, listen, we'll go with Eckes because we know that we can plug Heim in every single place that we want to. So if we feel good about Eckes
and
this week.
Yeah, if we get another good performance from Majeski this week, then we know we're going to be able to use them going forward, I think. So we're going to save him. So we haven't really burned him at all. So Eckes will be our play. Okay, we need 2 B drivers. We've got both Gray brothers, Timmy Hill, Ty Dillon, Tyler Ankrum, Friesen, Mills, Riggs, Allen, Enfinger, Dye, and Holmes. So I'm going to vote for.
I'm voting for Enfinger in this one. If we feel Enfinger's going to be,
that's who I was about to vote for before I checked up. But I think I agree with you. Yeah. Taylor Gray's kind of an obvious one. We've only got 5 starts left. Do we want to? I think we should just keep using him while he's running hot, though.
It's funny, though, that we have 5 starts with Taylor Gray, but we have 8 starts with Corey.
Yeah, I know. Well, and that's partially because we've used Kyle Busch multiple times, and I think we've had some other Cup guys up there too, so that makes it. But it's almost tough to use your big guys because there's all these other guys coming in. But I think that NASCAR betting preview show, if I had to guess, will play Lane Riggs. But I'm completely out on Lane Riggs, and I think you are as well. So,
Jesus, yes.
So we're going with the Enfinger for 1.
We may end the season with 9 starts with him as well.
Actually, we only have 7 starts left because we tried to use them early in the season, Rod.
Oh, that's right.
And I apologize for that. So
that's right. Let's go Taylor.
Taylor. Okay. We'll keep riding. We'll keep riding Taylor Gray. In his hot streaks here. What happened here? Okay.
He didn't want to let us because it was unfair advantage.
Don't use. Why is it? Okay, here we go. All right, C driver. We need 1 C driver, Rod. There's a lot of guys in here. Let me see. Half these guys aren't racing. Roger Carruth. We've only got 5 starts left. I'd rather save him for a bigger track.
Yeah, I'm with you.
None of these people are racing. What the fuck? Jack Wood, 9 starts left. Connor Jones, we got 9 starts.
Brendan Queen in there?
No. Jeez, what? This group is always so hard because none of these guys are racing. They have all these people listed that aren't even.
Tell you what. Jack Wood. Let's put Jack Wood in there.
Yeah.
Let's make the folks happy.
When else fails, Rod Jack Wood.
Jack Wood. When you got nothing left to do, Jack Wood.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a fast truck, and again, like, there's just not. Bailey Curry is in here. He's potentially one you could consider. Let's just roll with Jack Wood and call it good.
Well, show favorite Jack Wood.
There you go.
Live and die.
A vote for the people.
A vote for the people. All right. So who do we got again? We have
got. Well, where'd it go? Here we go. Christian Eckes, Grant Enfinger, Taylor Gray, and Jack Wood.
That's perfect. I love it. Love every word you just said there. So hopefully we'll continue to put the smack down on the NASCAR betting preview show. God, we love Derek.
Got to keep protecting that lead. Go check those guys out, though. They're great. Derek and Phil. Phil's back from Disney, whichever Disney he was at. He's back from that. So they're going to be live this evening as well. So go check those guys out. We love them. And we need to have another truck crossover pod with them again soon, Rod, because
we do.
Those are always a good time. And then we can talk shit to them about kicking their ass in this game.
In the meantime, too, I know that the boys from the back road are going to hit tonight as well. So make sure you check them out. They're going to be going probably about 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, shit. Yeah, just shift right over from here over to the IBT channel and you're set for the evening.
Yeah, you are. They're going to be talking about the All-Star race from DFS and betting perspective as well. So lots of stuff going on. So we will go ahead and let you get to that, but also fill out your truck DFS tomorrow and then all your betting card tonight. So, Cody, I'm smelling dinner. I'm ready to rock. So as we get ready to exit the studio, let everyone know where they can find you outside of the realms of this little box we're in.
Follow me over on the X-Rod. You can find all the stuff there. A couple articles out. I got a NASCAR underdog one. It's got some additional plays to what we talked about yesterday. Go check that out. Also, the NFL schedule dropped. I picked every single game against Fred for week 1 coming up this fall, Rod. Get those bets in early. Some of the stuff we don't know, who's going to be starting a quarterback, who's going to be playing stuff. Get that good CLV. Get some of those bets in early. So go check that out. Appreciate you guys. And you guys are always reading my articles, and it shows. Bosses notice it, so really appreciate it. And join us again tomorrow. We'll be back for one more truck series, full fantasy episode of trucks, DFS, underdog picks. Let's fucking go. Truck night. And this is a night race, isn't it, Rod? I think it is.
Yeah, it is. We're good.
Oh, love it. Let's go. Trucks under the lights. There's nothing like it.
Cody being modest for once. Yes, his articles are being read. You guys are helping him become one of the most read authors on the site. So good for Cody. Gotta love.
By the way, thank you for that, Rod. I appreciate it. It's a 12:30 race, so not so much trucks, but it is on Saturday, so there's that.
That's evening somewhere, right? Like
That's
it's
right.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock somewhere.
All right. Find me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it is in between media. Not on this week, but I'll be on sooner rather than later with the guys on the back road. Of course, Sportsbook Review. I got an Indy 500 article coming out for them next week. And of course, check out the AFL content. I was on with none other than Jeff Fisher last night, the new interim commissioner for the league, talking about that. And Chris Chetty, the chairman of the AFL. A lot of good stuff coming out of that one. In fact, there's a game on right now that I'm going to have to hurry up and get on as soon as we get done here. So without any more ado, thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. And until next time, let's go racing and let it ride.